and they were like, "Oh my God, Steven, this thing Facebook is out, and like you're gonna love it." And they're showing me on the computer like at this party after the game, and I remember seeing that, and I was like, "This is amazing." And at that point, like I actually applied early. Not early, but like U of I had rolling admissions. I remember getting into U of I and like putting a deposit down just so I could get the .edu email address to get on. The upshoot of that is like every single person that I knew from high school and then college, I was connected with on Facebook. That enabled me to build my first business in college, Spartan Entertainment. Me and my co-founder Zach ended up building a Facebook group that ended up having 17,000 college students. And we ran the nightlife at Duke, and then we had all these ancillary businesses. We had a college moving business. Something like 85 or 90% of Duke students live out of state. So, they need somewhere to put their shit after the semester's over. And we would hire, hockey players and football guys and basketball guys and wrestlers to come to your room and move the boxes, bring them to our warehouse, and then bring them back when you came back after the summer to go to your new place. We had a DJ rental business. A lot of kids wanted to get into DJing. They would play our parties. They would intern for us, basically kind of work for free. And then we would give them equipment, and then they could start, putting the money that they were earning, towards doing a lot of the events and parties we were doing. So my first entrepreneurial experience came from Duke, but social networking was so important of that. While at Duke, there was a guy named Xander who I met, whose dad was a really early LinkedIn investor and board member from Sequoia. Wow. And, because he happened to be a good friend of mine from freshman year, Xander ended up getting me and a lot of our friends on LinkedIn, like way before we thought we needed to be. So, that was really interesting because, from that period, a lot of people don't make a LinkedIn profile until they're in the job market to begin with. But because I had a LinkedIn profile from freshman year, like all my college accomplishments were things that were on that resume, living, breathing resume too. And that ended up being really interesting. So, for me, this connection of like connecting people and the power of that, whether it's LinkedIn to, I was coming out here for work this week. I hadn't been in LA in a year, and our Cameo for Business unit was trying to set up different meetings for me with CEOs in LA that, were big prospects of ours. And all of a sudden, this company called Byte pops up, which is a Smile Direct Club competitor. Yeah. And they're like, "Hey, you're connected with Nick Sarnoff, the CEO." That was my college roommate. It's like, I didn't know that he even had he was at TrueCard forever. I didn't know that he had left. LinkedIn can make it so you never have to know. Like, I don't know where most of my friends work today because in the same way, I don't know most people's phone numbers because it's saved in my phone, right? So that aspect of like getting real-time information on your network is absolutely essential. And a lot of the skills that I learned at LinkedIn ended up being the same skills that we taught at Cameo. So the way that we grew the Cameo business was actually through Instagram DM. Yes. We hired.
You said cold calls dead.
Yeah, very good. We hired an army of folks at Cameo that David was one of the pioneers of this, where we'd say, "Hey, you're doing sports, you're doing entertainment, go get them," and then David would sit there and DM Real Housewives until his thumbs were bleeding, right? And part of the way that you would sometimes get to someone really busy is you would look at their LinkedIn, at their Instagram posts, and see who else they were in. So, if you happen to be good friends with Jeremy Piven, like you might be a lot more easier to get. So they DM you, and then you'd be like, "Oh yeah, I'll set up for, with Jeremy," right? So that's kind of how we built it. This concept of social selling was something I learned about at LinkedIn, where I was on the team that was selling Sales Navigator, which is LinkedIn's
great tool. We use it.
First prospecting tool. So, while we weren't using LinkedIn as much, at Cameo, the skills that I learned about social selling allowed our Cameo sales team to be at the bleeding edge of the spear when it came through social selling and social prospecting through Instagram. And, Instagram is an amazing tool for any emerging entrepreneurs out there. Unlike Twitter, unlike LinkedIn, anyone in the world can send a message to anyone else in the world on Instagram, right? And that's a really big unlock. Now, are they going to see it? Maybe, maybe not. But at least you can get the access there. And you'd be surprised at how many people with blue check marks, will end up still reading every single one of the DMs that comes in And so often that is how somebody got a job, or how some entrepreneur got their break, or how some video editor ends up like DMing the right athlete and becomes their video editor. So shoot your shot.
Shoot your shot. You heard it here first. And I think there's a couple really cool ideas that you really brought into the fruition. Cold call is dead. One of the ones, and there's probably an untold story before, and you might not even remember it, was when we first pitched Steven, we were Emil Learning, and he really put down the name, which I appreciate right away, because he's like, I don't know how to say this or whatnot. And we ended up changing our name to Subject. Huge credit to you.
Better
Congrats.
name,
Thank you.
better
Way
name.
better name. So I'm assuming Cameo wasn't the first name of your business then.
No, Cameo.
What was the first name? Let's hear the story.
Yeah, Cameo was not the first name of our business. Actually, this is a pretty good story, and it resonates based on even a post that you posted this week. My little brother John Galanis, who worked for us for the first year of the business, he's the one that came up with the name Cameo, and we had a process where we first. We didn't know what it was going to be called, but if you go in the Cameo database today, the first idea we had for a name was Starboard. Like, it was just a board of all these stars. So literally, like, in our prod database, everything still says like Starboard.
I love it. We have
there.
Emil Learning for our Salesforce.
Everything. It's still there. The first website we went public with was Power Move. We just called it Project Power Move.